Hey, welcome everybody, wherever you are around the world. This is another session live with Hype, and today we are talking to a great startup called GGPredict, and the CEO Przoemek. And if you really would like to know the full name, you can read it here. Good luck with pronouncing it. I couldn't. But that's his unique selling point, or purple cow, as you want it. So, he got our attention already. I would say the session today is focused because, I'm speaking to a lot of startups these days, and I would say most of them are in the process of fundraising or started or just putting together the game plan around that or the value proposition for investors. So we would like to focus on specific challenges and questions Przoemek have regarding getting the story right in terms of investors. What are the investors' expectations, and how can we, I would say, get our chances higher to get a yes? And there are certain things which, if we do right, it just make a difference dramatically. And we will talk about that. Also, Przoemek, any questions you may have about, the specific timing now with COVID, pivoting, changing the product, the packages. But before that, I want you to present what your startup's doing. Obviously, you're in the eSports space, but we are talking to all the eSport and sport universe, so sport tech universe. So I would like this conversation to be relevant to all. But it's important also to understand what exactly you're doing so people can relate to that. And also, if there is a potential partner in the crowd, or a potential investor, they know what you do.
Sure. So first of all, thank you for having me. My full name is Przoemyslaw Siemaszko. I'm the CEO of GGPredict. And what we do is basically we create a coaching tool automated coaching tool for all esports players. So we have the most comprehensive database of all Counter-Strike games, all the data ever made. And we run multiple AI machine learning models that help figure out what players are doing right, what they are wrong. And we give them, we create special training plans for them, and we give all the tools necessary for development of player and gaining proficiency in esports.
Okay, let me just see if I got it. If I'm a player in eSport anywhere in the world and I need a coach, an automated coach, you have created this AI robot for me.
Yeah, so we have started, exactly like you said, we have started with Counter-Strike, and that's the first game we're covering right now.
Okay, Counter-Strike.
And we are, and actually, if you want to become the best player, you join our beta tests that are running right now, and you'll get the most data you can get about all your games and detailed analytics and indication of what you should improve. And yeah.
Great. So it's not only generic tips, you actually understand my game and you give me specific things I need to do better and how to do them better.
Yes, and because it's all done by computer, it's actually, we know more than any coach would know or any player.
Wow. Just so we understand the potential, how many players are playing Counter-Strike now in the world?
It's over 30 million right now.
Got it. And how much, if I need, I want to work with you now, just so I have an idea, how much do I pay? Is it a monthly subscription or quarterly? Or per hour, how is it going?
So right now, if you want to start right now, the beta is still free, but very soon we are launching it as a full product in a subscription-based model. It will be $10 a month.
That's it?
So that's it. Yeah, it's
$10 and I have a personal coach.
Yeah, and better than a traditional one.
Wow.
We can do it like this because everything is done fully automatically. There is no human touch anyway along the way. So full scalability.
I had options to invest in your company, which I have, which is very good. So Anyway, so good. So now, if I understand right, you already raised 250K euro or 200?
Excuse me?
200 or 250?
250 in our pre-seed round.
In your seed round, now you're looking to do I would say it's not A series, yeah. It's post-seed round or A, whatever you call it. $1 million. You're already starting to get some good positive response. What's the questions? What's happening? How can I help?
I have to say we are pretty fortunate being in esports. It's quite good, and people are quite happy to invest in esports during COVID. But of course, the vision of funds is shifting, and that's my first question. So, what are investors looking for right now the most? What should startups focus when addressing VCs and investors, and how to address the changes in the viewing of startups during the pandemic?
Okay, so basically you're asking what are investors looking for and how should you address the different investors, because addressing a VC is different to addressing an angel investor. And in this amount of money, although VCs now are looking to invest in also in eSport, very popular. Before the pandemic, I had a tour in London meeting few investors. Everybody asked me, can we invest in eSports? It's like the big hot thing now. However, let me say the following. First of all, investors, regardless of whether they are VCs or angels or whoever they are looking for the same, I would say, structured story, and I would say holistic story. Okay? Once, there is I would say there are 8 elements which I usually get in, which are all create the story complete. If you keep one of them not complete, it will be a challenge. So let's see if I can remember the 8 by heart, but the general idea is they're looking for a great team, a team that is nicely spread with that can show expertise in the different activities. They're looking for obviously the validation of the product, that the product can do what you said it can do. Mm-hmm. And they're looking for a validation that you already have a pilot up and running. Mm-hmm. And I see sometimes great startups, they're working on the product, and building the go-to-market, but no pilot, no testing. Investors would want to see that you have, and if you have it with a brand, obviously, without a doubt, that's a no-brainer. And specifically for that, now with the new global virtual accelerator we are running, which is starting in a couple of weeks, we've created what we call the brand test, which allows startups as part of the global virtual accelerator to pitch to over 30 investors. Exactly for that, for pilots. Also in eSport, by the way. Mm-hmm. So getting a pilot, so you can do, in your case, it could be with a team, just to show that it works in a team, because if it works for SK Gaming, it probably works for the general public. Mm-hmm. Or get a pilot, I don't know, as you're running now, I guess, with, 100, 200 people, and then get the feedback out of that to show that that's a no-brainer. And then you can convert those, free pilots into a membership. Because if you can demonstrate to me as an investor that 10%, 5%, 3% of your free users are converting to $10 per month, and then I can just do the math. I just know that if we bring million, you have 3% million. If we get 10 million, we get the rest. So that's, I want to see validation for the technology, validation from a pilot, so it shows that the customer is happy, and a validation for the business model.
Mm-hmm.
Because you may have a great product, but nobody wants to pay the $10 bloody dollars. So that's, I would say, where I will put my focus on. And then then it's a no-brainer for the investor. Obviously, the other topics, if you look at investors, they want to see that there is clear go-to-market plan. What are the markets? You mentioned that you're focusing at the moment on one game.
Mm-hmm.
What is the strategy regarding the next game? How are you going to implement that? What are the resources needed, etc., etc. Investors also would like to see that you are referring to the new reality we live in. So obviously, pandemic. People say that should be a good time for eSports because people locked down. They are in front of the computer, but I don't know, maybe there are other challenges. So they want to see that you have, you have thought about that. You spoke to your customers, you've done the research, and you have created specific, I would say, tailor-made product and customized product, and I would say even designed or put together, which are related to the specific time we're in. So I don't know if I go to 8, but it's close to that. I think these are the most important things that investors are looking for. They're looking for a big picture. They're looking for some kind of exit strategy. We don't need to say as a team, we are not working for an exit. Because, I usually, if I see a startup that thinks about exit from day one, sounds a bit strange. I want to see entrepreneurs and founders passionate to create great things and to impact the world. It's okay to tell the investor, we understand that you're here for the ROI, and this is a potential path for exit, but that's not only why we are here for. We're here to build something great and sustainable. And, if things will turn out that, I don't know, Wanda will come to you and put you a check of $100 million, maybe you wouldn't be able to say no. But this is far down the line. Mm-hmm. I don't know if this answers the question, Przoemek.
Yeah, I think you answered everything I was thinking about.
The air condition up. Sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned a lot about working on a pilots and then having something to demonstrate to investors. And when you're working on a pilot, especially with some big partners, some big teams, for example, what should be your focus as a startup? Should you focus on getting money out of it? I don't know, verification of some market needs of your assumptions, or it should be about connections and building your position and your contacts?
I think the purpose of usually the pilot is providing two purposes. The first purpose is validation for that the product actually works. The second one is about credibility. Yeah. Because if I have a statement by the CEO of ESL that GGPredict is a most amazing AI solution for players, that's worth a lot, especially from investors in the field. Yeah, the same, so I would say credibility is an important factor here. On the other hand, if you're targeting mainly B2C, maybe you don't need, because maybe you need just to focus on demonstrating that the business model works, and just to get, I would say, a testimonial from one of the big brands for testing it, or get one of them on the board. So if I know that you have somebody from ESL or SK Gaming or Bitcraft on your board, it helps. Yeah. So I would say investors usually would look for the credibility and look for some kind of testing. If the market is B2C, you don't need to do the testing with those teams. It's enough to have one of those top guys in your board or advisory board.
So ourselves at GGPredict, what we do with our beta testing is we're trying, most of all, we're trying to get as many beta testers right now. And we have already, within 1 month, we have over 1,000 people registered, and we see, quite impressive usage statistics. People log in very often. They come back after each game. They spend quite a lot of time researching their data on our website. So do you think that's enough? Would you, as an investor, say, okay, I see a lot of people are using it, and the usage statistics are showing great enthusiasm for users? Is it enough, or would you say, oh, you need to have some big partner, some bigger name to give more credibility?
There is an old famous slogan used by the big supermarket in UK called Tesco, and the slogan was "Every little helps." So obviously, if I'm an investor and you can prove that you can validate your business model, and out of 1,000 free users, you can convert it, I don't know, in a certain percentage, and you can prove that this is something we can maintain and even make bigger, you have proven the point. It's just now duplicating. But investors are always, when we are getting into the mind of the investors, it's always about, the fear of losing is always greater than the potential to win. Yeah. So people are always looking for comfort, or some kind of reassurance. There is an old saying that there is no executive in the world that got fired by closing a deal with Cisco.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but if they did close a deal with a small startup, they're taking a risk. Even the startup is amazing. So when you're talking to investors, the same. If you can show that you have top, industry leader on your board or advisory board, that's the credibility they're looking for. At the moment, do you have anybody famous, anybody renowned in the industry on your board?
No, not yet. We are working with some big names, but nobody on the board, definitely.
So this is, I would say, every little helps. That's another small reassurance. This former board member of Bitcraft is with you. Wow, I like it. So there is a stamp of credibility. It doesn't have to be, by the way, it could be from, I don't know, it could be another brand. Yeah, it could be from, I don't know, Puma. But there is a strong, executive there that gave his, trust and name to support you guys. Yeah, that's a good backwind for the investors to jump on and say yes.
Okay, and what do you think? Because you mentioned Puma, you mentioned Bitcraft, you mentioned SK Gaming. Do you think for majority of investors, having someone with strong experience in sports, traditional sports, maybe consumer products in sports, is better than having someone strongly, coming from the eSports world, or having this eSports insider knowledge? Like, is eSports strong enough right now and recognizable enough that it's as strong to have someone from Bitcraft, as you mentioned, or is it better to have someone from Puma still?
Again, why this or this? On our advisory board, we have, I think, 12 people. advisory board, not board. There is advisory board and there is a board. On your advisory board, you can put, I don't know, at least 6 people. Why? It's an exciting product, great technology. 2 most exciting topics today, which is AI and eSport. I think if you approach 100 people my age, former, CEOs of big brands or C-level, you will get 5 yeses. And I always surprised why startups are not doing that. It's the easiest part, because those people in the wrong side of the 50s, they're looking for this kind of opportunity. They're looking for interest. They're looking to be engaged. And you can offer them some kind of option package for the future, and everybody wins.
I guess you're right. Okay, now I also have a question, maybe coming back to the first question about investors' view of the pandemic. You said that there is a different perspective from angels, from VCs, from different types of investors. Do you see some difference geographically? So we know different countries were hit, differently by COVID, by the pandemic. Do you see different approach to investing in different parts of the world?
Yeah, I think with investors, first of all, some of the investors are still very conservative, and they like to invest in startups near them so they can see them. Although everything is global today, but if you're from Poland, probably obviously it will be more, I would obviously start from the local ecosystem. And then I will go to Europe, and then I will go to eSport angels and eSport funds. And yeah, I would say, there are funds which are agnostic, obviously because they are in different places and they're working, they have money, they need to invest. Let me tell you this, funds need to spend the money they have, because if they don't spend it, they cannot raise the next fund. So usually they have a quota of investment they have to do every year. And if they have to do, 5 investments in eSport in 2020, they want to do it even if there are challenges. Or they can postpone some of it for the early 2021, but from their perspective, they still want to spend to make the investment. So I would say, if I create a game plan, I would start with eSport in Poland and Europe, then expand to other eSport around the world, and look for people that can put you in front of decision makers. And because this always make the introduction better. And it's so easy now comparing to when I was an entrepreneur with LinkedIn, and everybody's connected now. I think the idea is really to create a game plan and to make sure, because it's a numbers game. If you would like to close one deal and you need to close 1 million, you already mentioned you may have already secured, 300-400K. This is, in order to secure 1 million, you need to have at least, I would say, 5 investors which you start the process with. And then you end up with 2 which are relevant, and you play between each other, because if you have only 1 potential investor, it will be a lousy deal, because he will know that you need him, and it will be a very one-sided deal. Always make sure, it's not always possible, but create the effort to offer as well, and we need to take the best decision for us, so you can play them against each other.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think I Are you still with me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Yeah, the screen was freezing for a second. So I don't know if this answers your question regarding the pandemic and which regions to focus on.
Yeah, definitely. So actually, I think you've pretty much cleared the questions I had prepared for today.
Great. So maybe I have a question for you.
Yeah, I love that.
First of all, what have you done in the last year with the pandemic that you think really was a game changer for you? Because some of the startups are in a survival mode. Yeah, I don't think you are in a survival mode. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Not at all.
What have you done differently?
Actually, we have expanded our hiring. We have built a whole team during the pandemic, and we know that when the situation, the worse the situation was in general, at least in Poland, the better our hiring went, and we hired amazing talent. So that was definitely something we enjoyed. When we are talking with investors, with partners, we see that the approach toward esports is getting better and better. People are noticing it. For some time there were no other sports, so obviously anyone in sports was following esports, and that also created a lot of positive communication for us. So yeah, I would say these were the biggest positives for us in the last months.
All right. So you say basically you didn't put the head down. On the contrary, you really pushed the gas forward.
Absolutely.
And when you're looking for 2021, yeah, what are these? I call it the do or die. What is this do or die factor? This killer KPI you need to get in order to make the big jump? Is it apart from fundraising?
Apart from fundraising, it's it has to be related to product. Being a B2C company, like I said, our first the data we receive from beta testing is very promising. It shows a lot of promise towards the future, but we need to make the best product there is, and we believe we have everything in place to do it, and it's already showing. The tests are already showing that, but we need to keep expanding. We need to keep checking what our users are doing, how they, what they need, what they want from us, and keep expanding even more. So I would say there is no single do or die for us. It's about constant, adding new features, constant adjusting to what
development of the product constantly.
Exactly, and as long as we can, give every player that uses GGPredict constant improvement in their game, as long as we can provide this customer success, that's what will make that's the do or die for us. Provide constant value to our customers.
Now, if we have few startups here in the esports space which are thinking about 2021, what are the, I would say, tips you can give them in terms of how to really take the full potential of this time?
So we are ourselves at a very early stage, so I'm not sure if I'm the most competent person to give big advice. What we see is working great in this stage is being with the user, being part of the ecosystem, and the moment we talk with our users, and we are doing this for last couple of several months since we started, even way before beta. We are talking with our users. We are constantly being available, in the relevant channels where people talk about CS:GO, people talk about data, about development. We are there. We are trying to engage in discussions with them, provide them with content, with information, with everything, everything we can draw from our data, and this is what's providing us with the most success so far. So I would say the most important thing is, being part of the ecosystem, being with the people, and understanding what people need and then talking with them.
That's great. That's the best tip I heard today, and I think being and I had a lot of conversations. The being in touch on a regular basis with our audience, with our customers, on really deep level. Very few of us are doing that on a really ongoing basis.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. So that was something that when we started having those deep dives and constant talks with our clients, that was a big shift in our development.
Good. So Przemek, this is 2020. It's recorded, and I am looking forward to talk to you again before 2025, but at least to see where you're going to be in 2025. I love your product and your team, and I wish you all the best. And thank you very much for joining us today. I hope this was valuable for you. I'm sure it was valuable for the other startups and the ecosystem members of the sports tech universe. Thanks all of you for joining us today. Looking forward to see you next time live with Hype. Bye for now.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be here.